like the rushing of a mighty wind, like the rushing of a mighty wind.
Yeah, I just wanted one thing, since y'all mentioned the 1526 date, interestingly enough, the slaves that came here in 1526 came from the Caribbean. So the FBA foundation, the original FBA were Africans by way of the Caribbean. And that's just, y'all can take that for whatever it is, but the original FBA were Caribbeans, African Caribbeans, if you will. Yeah, they came from the Dominican Republic. The slaves were brought in from the Dominican Republic.
American dream like overwhooping. He an overwhooper.
And also, the other thing I wanted to mention was
you need a source for that. You need a source, man. Can we get a source?
The source is Columbia setting up base in Hispaniola.
The source is from Columbus.
Hold
on, bro.
Columbus' second or third voyage, he set up the Hispaniola to be like the headquarters of the further exploration of the Americas. So yeah, he started bringing in slaves upon Bartolomé de las Casas' recommendation, first to Hispaniola, and then they accompanied many of the conquistadors to Mexico, to Peru, to other places.
Let me understand. Let me get y'all to understand what I'm hearing, because I could be doing too much in my brain. My brain works kind of funny.
He's spoken
he called them Caribbeans. These are Africans, man. These are West Africans. They haven't had a
Africans
chance.
by way of the Caribbean. I said Africans by way of the Caribbean. They were taken from Africa to the Caribbean.
You didn't say they were Caribbeans? You didn't say they were Caribbeans.
Well, the same way I'm a Caribbean, but I also have African ancestry.
You do understand that's two different things, right? American dream. Come on, man.
Joel,
you
listen
do understand that, right?
There's no telling. There's no set. There's no telling how long those slaves were in the Caribbean before
they weren't there long enough to set up a culture like you did. Like your folks that you scream from, they actually set up their foods, their language, their mores, their dress.
Creole people. You're correct.
Yeah, them folks that can't. Oh, wait a minute, y'all. Come on, we gotta. The one thing we do over here on this channel is we talk with some goddamn sense.
Right.
Now, when that guy brought them people over here, you cannot call them Caribbeans. What you can say is that he was moving them from place to place, and he brought some from the place that we call Caribbeans now. They West Africans.
You are correct, sir.
They West
you
Africans.
Are correct.
Okay.
No need to belabor the point. You're 100%.
I mean, I'm not really, arguing that point too big, but the only thing I'm saying is they were brought here. Most of the slaves that came here didn't come directly from Africa. Most of the slaves that came here came via the Caribbean. And all I'm saying is there's no telling how long they were in the Caribbean for. But regardless of that point, the only thing I'm saying is just ironically enough, the origins of FBA goes back to the Caribbean. The first slaves that came here from the Caribbean. And that's just something I think that's important.
You're doing too much.
Because
I get your point. But you're doing too much.
Yeah, it's a minutiae point. It isn't important.
One person doing it. Doing all of the slave trading. It's not true.
Well, the point that's being made here is that as early as 1526, that would have been too early to establish a creolized Caribbean culture, which is a good point, which is a very valid point. In 1526, the Spanish and all the Europeans were still very much early on in their colonizing projects. So yes, the point is a good point. We can just acknowledge that and move on. The brother made a good counterpoint. But
if they trace their ancestry, back to the slaves that were here in 1526, their ancestry is also going to possibly go back to the Caribbean as well, because those slaves were taken from the Caribbean. And those slaves may have had family in the Caribbean.
I can explain it.
I don't need nobody to explain nothing right now. What we need is the source. So that statement he made fundamentally is not true. I'm going to give you a direct source, right? You had plenty of slaves that came directly from Africa to the Americas. And yes, you do have a trade where they come from the Caribbean to the Americas. No one's denying that. We know there's about 388,000 slaves that came directly from Africa to the Americas. Okay, so this is not even debated. This is easy work, right? So I think you overwhooped it. I used this source the other day. Here you go. You can look at it right here. We can watch it ourselves. It's right here on the screen. It's right here. So we don't got it.
But I'm speaking specifically about the 1526 ones. The ones that started in 1526, they came from the Caribbean.
Okay, well, I'm just showing, okay, all right, but we ain't talking about that. You said
not true. That's what I'm talking about. So you can't tell me I'm overshooting. That's what I'm talking about.
You just
not true, though, we belaboring too small of a point.
You don't got to talk each other. Let me finish. I need to fix my mic or something because I ain't going through this.
No, you good. Oh, go ahead. We hear you.
I'm making a point that I thought you said that most of the slaves came from Caribbean. I didn't hear you put a date and say that. Right. And then how would that even make sense? If you're just saying it's a particular time period, then who would argue with that? I thought you said that most of the slaves came from the Caribbean to support whatever the hell you were saying. So if that's not what you were saying, American Dream, then we're fine. I'm just telling you that we got a chart right here, right, from slave voyages that say differently. That's all I'm saying. And it's got the time periods, right? So in the 15 something, right? Let's see.
1526.
1526. So I mean, but how is that a point though? I don't want to argue a non-point. How is that a point? So what?
Like I said, we should be able to just move past this point because again, at 1520, let me just say 1526, it's so early on that the large scale waves of African bodies hasn't begun yet. Correct. And those first few Africans that were brought to Hispaniola are actually doing what FBA claims. They're mixing with the Native Americans haven't died out completely yet either. They were enslaved first. No, hold on. They were enslaved first on Hispaniola. And as they were dying out by 1526, Africans were coming in to replace them. And there was some mixing of like the Caribs, Arawaks, and the Africans coming in. But that's a whole nother discussion. That's a whole nother discussion.
What was your point for making that though? You were saying that what? I thought you were saying it to bring your Caribbean thing in. Why was you saying that though? What was that important?
I was just discussing 1526.
They have 1526 on their flag.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happens, ironically, that those particular slaves that they're referring to, the 1526 slaves, came here from the Caribbean. So as much as they bang on Caribbeans and Caribbean immigrants, these slaves can be seen as Caribbean migrants, if you will. So the origins of FBA in America are Caribbean.
That don't even make sense.
We do history over here, man. We do accurate history. Okay, can I ask y'all something?
No. All right, let me see if I can say what he's saying, because he be tricking too. He'll trick you out. He's trying to say, based off of FBA talking all this shit about people from the Caribbean, how ironic in the 1500s, he's saying that the first slaves arrived from the Caribbean. That's what he's trying to say.
They was tethers. Right. The first ones was tethers.
If they trace their ancestry, let me just say what I'm saying. Let me just say what I'm saying. If they trace their ancestry, back to 1526, if they trace their ancestry back to the 1526 slaves, they're also going to trace their ancestry right back to the Caribbean.
You're a mess. You're a mess, Market Dream. I like your style, but you just amongst the wrong crowd. You can't get it off with us. But that's a good one. That's a good one, though. That's fun.
FBA, go ahead. What say you, yo?
It doesn't, bro. You gotta use common sense, bro. Like, they don't even make no type of sense.
Common sense ain't common, bro.
What?
You see, you know what, yo? Come on, yo. Discipline.
It just don't make any common sense, bro. Because what you're saying is they only went to this one place and they missed everything else. Then when you say the Caribbean, what are you saying?
When did I say that? When did I say that?
What you mean? You just
now what you're saying doesn't make sense because I never said that.
You said first they came to the Caribbean, then they came to America, right?
Yes, they took the slaves from Africa to the Caribbean. I'm speaking specifically of the ones in 1526 that FBA have on their flag. FBA, they don't talk about the 1619 people. They go back to the 1526 colony that was created. And that colony was created by slaves that were brought here from the Caribbean. That's all I'm saying. And I just think that's a little ironic.
One year.
Doesn't matter. That's back to, they're like, yo, the fifth.
I mean, if they arrived there,
Ironic that they came from the Caribbean. That's all.
They couldn't create anything.
So hold on, wait.
They didn't create anything in a year.
No, hold on.
What are you talking about in a year? I don't even understand.
No, hold on for a minute. Hold on. Am I wrong when we bring up the 1619 came from a Portuguese slave ship? What is the name of that daggone slave ship, yo? Hold on, let me get it right. I'm saying, am I wrong in saying it?
Called Jesus?
No.
Slave ship.
Nah, he ain't talking about Jesus.
Pseudo.
Pseudo Juno, SAO space JOAO. Y'all familiar with that? These are originally, these are originally captured in West and Central African region, Angola, the Kingdom of Congo. It says specifically they were part of a very large group of captives taken during Angolan Portuguese wars around 1618 and 1619. Our primary sources are John Thornton, Africa and Africans in the American World, Cambridge Press, Linda Haywood, right? We got there, and John Thornton, Central African Atlantic Creoles, the Foundation of America, and the Void ID database, multiple. Y'all got mute that. What is that? In Angola, embarkation tried to Bastilia. Am I saying that right?
Close enough for me.
Bastille, but you got it.
Okay. The accurate number was based on the records. Some information online claims 7 slaves came, but historically incorrect. The accurate number based on Virginia records, 2 English private ships, White Liner and the Treasurer, captured African people off the coast. Portuguese slave ship brought 20 to 30 Africans to Point Comfort, Virginia in 16. So that's the first slaves that came to America. So I don't know. I think y'all went far. I'm saying that is, hold on. Maybe I should say.
So let me say something real quick.
The very thing you're showing
I need to say North America, right? It's got. Let me start over. Stop. I gotta say North America to be certain, right, y'all? Hold on.
If you look at what you have on the screen, like if you bring it back to 1576, you'll notice that most of the slaves, like even right now, they're up to 1603, and none of them are going straight to North America. They're either going to South America or into the Caribbean.
I agree. So I don't know how to get that far back. I agree.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's a fact that there was a colony of slaves. There was a colony that was created in 1576 in America, and those slaves were brought here from the Caribbean. They didn't come straight from Africa. They were brought here, and they didn't come from South America. If you look at what's going on right now, you see all the slaves are going to South America or the Caribbean, not straight to North America. So all I'm saying is just ironic that given as much as FBA bangs on Caribbeans, their origins is also.
Y'all gotta give me a chance. Everybody got a chance to go with me.
Why wouldn't they come from South America?
Stop, man. Everybody got to give me a chance to go.
76, if you study what the 1576 colony, if you study about the 1576 colony, it says they came from the Caribbean, not from South America. So to answer your question, why didn't they come from South America?
Let me straighten the story out, because what's the problem with what American Dream is doing is he's not putting this in the proper context. All right, so the people that he's saying that are Caribbean people, they got a really special story. American Dream should probably go learn it, but they got a really special story. And the reason why is because, man, they have a bunch of stories about maroons. Do y'all know what maroons are?
Yes, sir. They play both sides. Sometimes on the side of the English, sometimes on the side of the Spanish. Go ahead, but I already agreed to you.
All right.
He cannot claim Caribbean because there was no Caribbean creolized culture. I agree with you.
Yeah. Let's make it make sense. Because these Maroons did a lot of fighting. They blended in with a lot of the people that were actually native to that land. They actually did. Right? They would run. They were runaways. You know, they would kick them European settlers in their butt.
And they were decisive in determining which European power won. But go ahead.
There you go. Yeah, because they would choose sides. All right, so we together. We're in the car. So check this out. The dates that we're talking about is late 17s, early 18, like 1804. Remember, Haiti is what? Around that time.
Yeah, 1804. Right? They 53.
Yeah, there you go. So that's when they was putting in all this work. So American Dream, you're like 200 years too far back, buddy.
300.
That's all I want to say.
Hello, bro.
You get a Caribbean.
I'm trying to be patient.
Joel.
No, you ain't
Joel.
You're not trying to be patient.
Hold on 1 second. I'm almost done.
Joel.
I'm almost done.
Joel, I'm only going to 50.
Well finished.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me finish. Yeah. I didn't cut you off.
Finished. I thought you were
But I
finished.
didn't cut you off. I got 2 more minutes. So you get this Caribbean culture with this group that I'm talking about, right? Once the settlers get out the way, these peoples are still mixed in with the native folks, and so American Dream. When you say that if they did DNA, it would not come back to those folks in 1526. It would come back to me. It wouldn't come back to them. That's all I wanted to say. There you go. I'm done.
Then why does Tariq have them on his flag?
Because he's a flaming pseudo. We just got finished breaking it down. He don't understand this flag. He don't understand.
Joel, that's what I'm speaking to. I'm speaking to the fact that they have 1526 on their flag, and the fact is those 1526 people came from the Caribbean. I have no idea why you're talking about.
Both of y'all agree to that, but the point. Let me explain why you're making a mistake, though, American Dream.
Hold on, relax, Pan. Hold on, relax.
Oh man, I've been trying to be patient, man. I'm trying to get in just to settle this because both brothers mostly agree.
Hold on for a minute. I got to make sure that my African American brothers know that I'm on their side 100%. All right. So I ain't gonna get caught in a Caribbean tug of war. I'm not doing it. Just like I got caught in that Black Egyptian shit. Nobody was hearing what I was saying. It was dragging me on both sides. They like the fun part that I ain't doing it. So I won't make my shit clear. My shit is that 16. Let me say this. Now all the other shit y'all talking, y'all can have at it. 1619. Coming from Angola, my favorite spot in West Africa, right, is when the first slaves came to North America. That's what I'm saying. Now, anybody past that, you're scamming. If you got a flag with the 15 something, then American Dream are gonna get you. I'm going 16. I'm telling you what I'm going. I ain't going to y'all get me off that position. I'm going to say this again. Hear me clear. 1619 from Angola. The wars against the Portuguese is where Brother Ankh is saying them goddamn slaves came from. They came to North America. Now, if you get that flag, American Dream is going to get you because I hear his goddamn point. I ain't saying I'm on the side because he be playing around with African Americans. What I'm saying is, I don't know.
But thank you.
Hold on. Y'all been going back and forth. Let me just come in between and try to mediate this. Because listen, hold on, let me just say this. This
is what you can't do. You can't teach a lecture, yo. You be trying to.
No, I ain't trying to lecture. I just want to make a quick point. Both of y'all are mostly on the same side of the argument. But American Dream got to realize his claim to Caribbean culture in 1526 is null and void. Those were
Well, I didn't say anything about Caribbean culture. Okay. I'll give you that.
That's where the discussion is. That's the whole thing causing the disagreement. We got to move past that. Yeah.
But listen what I'm saying to you, though. What I'm saying is those people that came from the Caribbean in 1526, it's likely they had family that they left there. It's like they didn't take every slave from there. It's likely that they had kinfolk there. So if FBA's ancestry goes back to 1526, their ancestry is also likely going to go back to the Caribbean because those slaves that were brought here came from the Caribbean, and it's likely they had family in the Caribbean that they listen. Are y'all listening? Most slaves
Yeah,
that came
man.
from most slaves that they brought, the slaves that they brought from Africa left family in Africa. The slaves, when they brought them to the Caribbean and then brought them to America, they left family in the Caribbean too. So I'm
Yeah,
like, I don't understand. That's all I'm saying.
They got this thing called genetics, though. This thing called genetics clears that up.
Right.
I know
that.
that, but I'm saying they have family. They left.
Slaves stay in the Caribbean before they leave to come to America.
Well, here's the thing. That's what I'm saying. You got to go deeper, American dream, because the reality is this. Once Spain identifies what they're there for, right, which is gold, they got a whole war with the Aztec in Mexico, right? Later on, they're going to have war with the Inca in Peru, right? When that happened, Spain had a labor problem. They didn't have enough people, right? So they could not hold on to all the territory that they had been granted by the Treaty of Tordesillas. So slaves, which were considered the primary labor source, have been transported from Hispaniola to these places to focus on mining that gold. This is one of the reasons why Spain goes down as a colonial power and why they're challenged by the English in the 1600s. So you're claiming...
I'm trying to figure out how that counters what I'm saying.
Because you're claiming that the creolization process, right, which is the creation of a ethnogenetic Caribbean culture on Hispaniola.
All I said was they left family there.
If you talking about leaving family there, you talking about the beginning of a Caribbean culture. That's
Jimmy.
No, listen. All I'm telling you, listen. I didn't say anything about creolization or their culture. All I said was I said they left family in the Caribbean, so they're gonna have their DNA is gonna be in the Caribbean. Their DNA is if they're gonna trace their ancestry back to 1526, it's very likely their ancestry is gonna go back to the Caribbean because those slaves in 1526. Can I finish my statement? Those slaves in 1526 were taken from the Caribbean, and it's likely they left family there. So if they're tracing their ancestry to 1526 slaves, it's very likely their ancestry goes back to the Caribbean as well, because the slaves were. That's all I'm saying. I don't understand why that's difficult. I don't understand why y'all
because it's not according to history.
I don't understand.
Misleading. It's misleading.
I'm making a very simple.
I accept this. I don't understand the argument.
Like, hold on. You trying to dive in with a slick way of coming. I like it though, Chef. But hold on.
All right, go ahead.
I will make this point. Sosa made a point on the screen about the difference in Florida would have been Spanish, right? The Spanish would have controlled that area. Okay, so Africans were present in Spanish Florida in the 1500s. All right, so let's see.
That's after 1526, though,
huh?
Right.
That's after
1526.
Okay,
but well after 1526.
He's contradicting Tariq's flag.
Why
everybody is against Tariq.
Why y'all jumping on the lead? Hold on, let me just finish.
Attacking him. If Tariq is wrong, he just adding to it.
No, I'm not. I'm just.
Thank you, Chef.
I'm dealing with social point right now. Because I made a statement. I'm making sure. Hey, Chef, we've been through this shit before. Hey, don't worry about Suge. I ain't letting you on. Don't worry about it, bro. Don't worry about it. I don't know why you waste your time. You don't waste your time, Suge. You rich guy. We don't want no rich niggas on the panel, yo. We just want the regular niggas. You too rich for us, bro. Yeah, you too rich, yo. You don't need to be up here amongst the broke. Come on, yo. You amongst the broke. Yeah, I ain't fighting them. Remember, I made a statement. I want to make sure that my shit is clear, right? I say in North America, right? English, and I gave y'all a date, right? He introduced the date in Florida. That's the Spanish, right? And the exact date would be, they say around, around during the 1540s to 1550s.
That's Ponce de Leon now.
All right, that's where we at. Okay, now y'all can carry y'all great conversation now.
Well, we really need to move on past this point because, like the brother said,
Go ahead, Chef. What's in your mind? Go ahead.
So, if Tariq's flag is saying that the first Africans, right, came to the first black people or whatever he called them, came to America in 1526, and that's on your flag. And if American Dream is saying that those Africans come from the Caribbean,
all right, man, you rude. Don't be rude. Come on.
You feel me? Like that just shows how more bogus he is.
Right.
You feel me? That's all American Dream It's
Yeah,
saying,
I got him. I like him.
Chef Ray.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he just overdoing it though, Chef. That's all. He just
No,
overdoing it.
you're
Yeah,
overdoing
he
it,
overdoing
Joel.
it.
Joel, you're overdoing it. You brought in 1804. You're overdoing it.
No,
Can I explain myself?
you generalizing with the term Caribbean when
Can
it
I
really is
explain?
Hispaniola. You're talking about Hispaniola. That's not the whole
Where's
Caribbean.
Hispaniola?
I got you.
Where's Hispaniola?
Yes, but that
Let
was
me know
one
when I
place
can
in the
explain
Caribbean.
myself
That's
so
not all
Chef
of the
can
One
hear me.
Caribbean.
place in the Caribbean. It's in the Caribbean,
Them
man.
people were African though. They was not
Okay,
Caribbean.
All right.
y'all true.
Hey, Chef.
Because it was like a state. It was kind of like Dr. Mac talk about it, where they brought you Caribbean and took you to what's going. That wouldn't make you Caribbean because you was there and they come on.
Right.
Oh,
That
that's-
man tripping.
Yeah, that's a whole lot. I don't
Okay,
know.
again.
Oh, so you
I'm
understand?
just
You
gonna
understand
repeat
that, Chef? You understand that?
Okay, do
Yeah,
y'all
but
agree?
I
Yes,
think
I
y'all
agree.
trying to beat this point when
I ain't trying to beat no point.
you
I
know,
understand.
it don't even have to do that. Like,
But Joel, let me ask you this question, just the one question. Given that those slaves came from the Caribbean, from Hispania, is it, and they can trace their ancestry back to 1526, isn't it possible that they can also trace it back to the Caribbean?
No. No.
Nigga
Can I
said
explain
no.
why? Can I explain why?
Nigga said no.
Don't laugh
Go
at
ahead,
me.
man.
Let
Knock
me
yourself
explain
out
why.
and explain why.
Okay. All right. I specifically brought up some things that took place, and that was the maroonage. And the reason why I brought that up
That's 1800, bro. Why you going back up to 18? Why you talking?
No.
What are you talking
Maroonage
about?
was a 16th century, 17th century phenomenon largely. But go ahead.
all right, y'all gonna let me get it out eventually. I'm just gonna stop talking if you cut me off. All right. So my reason for bringing that up is because I wanted to point out, because not all of them were maroons, but I wanted to point out that the people blended with the folks living on that land at that time.
Tariq Flag is bogus. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, he's saying it's both.
Yes, I agree with that, but he can't he can't make it seem like they were Caribbeans and then say our DNA is going to go back to them. It's not. The Native American mix that I have is found here on North American landmass, not in the Caribbean.
Right.
My DNA is not going to.
And Joel, you're doing a huge disservice. You're being just as pseudo as Tariq by imagining that they left family in Hispaniola. You were saying that with no proof. That is a pseudo claim.
We're going to move forward. We're going to move
Oh, wait a minute. No. Oh, he said I said something pseudo. You know, I don't say pseudo stuff.
No, that was not you. That was not you.
Pseudo?
No.
What did I say was
you
pseudo?
said, I'm with you. I'm not saying what you said, pseudo. With the brother who's standing that family on Hispaniola without showing for that is pseudo. That he's suggesting that it is likely. That is not based on solid fact that's been established. He's saying that because they had a colony there earlier, that they would have likely left Africans who then, had families and stuff on that island. That is just suggestive. That is a pseudo claim. That's a claim without proof. Yeah, and listen, and I'm a Pan-African saying this.
Problem with Caribbeans or something? Like if they was
I'm from the Caribbean, but you got to be exact.
But if
you can't be just making pseudo claims on no side.
Pan-African. Can I ask you a question?
In the Caribbean, and they was
I want to get in it.
I got you.
Pan-African. Let me just ask.
To North America. Why would it be I don't think it was a big difference in the people at that time. Do y'all get that?
What people?
The African people.
Caribbean.
Pan-African.
No, I'm saying if they had to go to the Caribbean first, right? Yeah. And the Caribbean colonies was established before the North American colonies, right? And the import of the African slaves. So the majority of us was staged in the Caribbean first.
Yeah, they still Africans though, just in the Caribbean. Go ahead.
I don't understand the argument that y'all making towards them.
They just trying to make an argument. They just want to argue.
All right, we're gonna move on to Fontaine.
Hold on, can I ask Pan a question first?
No. You hold that question.
Let me ask Pan a question.
Just hold that. Fontaine, what's up, brother?
What's up? How y'all doing, man? I just want to get in because, yes, I do think American Dream has a point, but one of the points that I've been trying to say from the jump is that's been the slave trade the entire time, is they were being moved to different areas throughout the entire slave trade. So really no group is from a specific spot. Like, so to be like, we're from the Caribbeans, or we're from South America, or we're from America, you don't really know, because you were being moved around throughout the entire thing. You might have had a cousin sent here, or a grandmother sent here, or auntie. Like, so when you say they left family behind, I might have been a slave that was brought directly from Africa. I might have been a slave that was brought directly from Africa that never breeded, that never had any other lineage. So it's like, you don't know. It's so much stuff that goes into this. We just making these just outrageous claims. I feel like just the whole
Caribbean American claim. It's equally as pseudo as
no Caribbeans existed yet, like they said earlier.
There you go. No Caribbeans existed.
Hold on for a second.
Yo, y'all are so thick-headed, bro. Can I listen? Let me say.
They tripping. American Dream. Don't even fight them, American.
Y'all gotta stop pointing out what somebody said that was wrong.
Listen, can I just say it? I'm gonna say it one more time. I'm gonna say it.
Chef and American Dream pseudos. That's all it is.
Joel, let me say it for you one more time.
In the Caribbean, for the Caribbean.
Let me say it. Can I say it?
Why you gonna get the Caribbean before the Caribbean?
He's doing the same thing as Tariq, just locating his foundation in the Caribbean. That's what he's doing, and that's pseudo.
Let me just say what I'm saying. Let me just say.
Hold on, American Dream. Hold on. What I want to say is, this ain't even that complicated, right? Because they had an area where they came from Africa, they took them to the Caribbean, and then they shipped them off to different places, right? That I mean, but you enslaved in fucking America though. They enslave you, they bring you. It's like going to prison, yo. They take your ass to certain jails, right? For a while, you might be there for a year, right? 6 months, and then they ship your ass off to a prison, yo. Yeah, I mean, that's how it goes. So that's how the slave trade was. A lot of times they would stage you there. I forget the name, the document I gave it, right? They take and ship you off. So are we fucking arguing over different shipping points?
It's almost like triage, huh?
No, that's not what we arguing over.
I see what you're saying, Chef. Like, we cannot all go over the staging areas now. And now we getting petty.
Right.
Petty now. And you can't.
I think the prison thing is a good analogy, actually.
Okay. Yeah, we can't. Come on, yo. But he's saying that flag, though. That flag is wild. I say the flag is wild because
I'll say the flag is wild.
Can I say something on?
And then we're gonna
let me just say it real quick. Let me just say it real quick.
Bring him in there. Go ahead.
Again, they brought about 100 slaves from the Caribbean in 1526. It was about 100 slaves. And what I'm saying to y'all is that wasn't all of the slaves that were there in Hispaniola. So out of those 100 slaves could have left relatives in the Caribbean. And what I'm saying is, if FBA's DNA goes back to the 1526 slaves, it's likely that it also goes back to Hispaniola, because those people in Hispaniola came Caribbean. The family that those slaves left in Hispaniola became Caribbean. So FBA has DNA in the Caribbean, has heritage and a DNA lineage in the Caribbean. If it's in 1526 in that, what do you mean, yo? You know what? Let me mute out. This is too simple. Like, I don't understand. Like, if they got DNA in the Caribbean, I don't understand why y'all talking about
American Dream. They not gonna let you.
He didn't say
I know I'm not gonna let him get it off. Not me.
I think the reason Joel is not gonna let me get it off is because it's me. I think it's because
that's not true. That's not true, American Dream. If you come up here and say something right, I'm not gonna beef with you.
Joel,
I don't do that. I don't do that.
Joel,
everybody stop.
Maybe Chef. I'll fight Chef just for the heck of it, but not anybody.
That's the last way of thinking. Chef, what you say? You trying to say?
He's saying that the Reed flag is bogus because he's completely against immigrants, right?
Okay.
He's completely against Caribbeans and all of them saying that they African American. But the date on his flag is marking the first African Americans that came to America, according to his flag, actually came from the Caribbean. I think that's a dagger, and we should let American Dream have that point against Tariq Nasheed.
Nah, no.
But that's why I said he does have a point.
Everybody agrees to that. But
Also, I don't understand the trying to get him back.
Listen, there's one little problem with that. I heard you. See, I know how to listen for you.
I disagree.
Then they, no matter what the fuck, they wasn't immigrants. They were slaves. So we not arguing over stage now. They were slaves.
They were
There you go. There you go.
What?
They were not Caribbean. They were okay.
Y'all got Thursday. Y'all not talking over me on this motherfucker, yo. This is what I'm saying. And I'm very, very clear. They were slaves. They wasn't. Tariq and them is arguing over immigrants. They beefing over immigrants. They got a problem with immigrants. Y'all know what a damn immigrant is? Okay, that's what they arguing over. Immigrants. That's the central beef. So I'm not arguing over different staging areas of where you came from. Y'all know that they flip-flop slaves. What about that? They always did that because you wouldn't last but a year in the Caribbean. So they send you to America, right? Then they took some and switched them. Well, how about that? We gonna argue over the switch? Hey, yo, you got switched one time, so you ain't really do no money. Come on, yo. I ain't saying y'all with that shit. That's
but that only clarifies that they have lineage in the Caribbean.
Hold on for a minute, Latino America. You wait a minute, because we got one. How you say your name? You too much on the name. You got the
first name. Just say first name. Just say first name.
First name. What's up? And you're representing what, sir?
Oh, well, you know, my people, we come from West Africa. I'm Black American, but we come from West Africa. We're not none of this Black Native American, none of this Tariq Nasheed, none of that.
Okay.
But yeah, just let me clarify what he's saying. What he's saying is there were West African, American Dream. What American Dream was saying was West Africans came over by way of slavery into the Caribbean. And then those first West African slaves that came into the Americas before 1619 came up from the Caribbean. They're West Africans from the Caribbean. They came into South Carolina by the Spanish. That's all he's saying. He's not talking about any.
He said, though. He said they're Caribbean.
That's not what he said.
Listen, he's not saying hear me out. He's not saying they're native
between a slave and an immigrant. An immigrant operates with agency. A slave has no agency. And that is an important contextual point here, because American Dream is a step.
Doesn't care about that, Pan-African. DNA doesn't care about whether you're a slave or an immigrant.
Listen very, very carefully.
Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Brought us from the motherland in bondage and chains. Bury our culture and change our names. They claim we're free, yet we are in pain. As long as there's life, there's a lot to gain. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. When God spoke his words, they said he was deranged. Marley sung his songs, they said the same. Malcolm X and Martin Luther fought relentlessly so we could be better. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they say we are praise. Brought us from the motherland in bondage and chains. Bury our culture and change our names. They claim we're free, yet we are in pain. As long as there's life, there's a lot to gain. Just because we're black, they say we are slaves. Speak of righteousness, they